workshops.
Thank you a lot. We'll put this up a little bit. And okay, a bit more. Okay, so yeah, I'm representing here like public administration, let's say, on behalf of Visesa, the public housing body for the Basque government. And the project, one of the main goals was capacity building for public administration. And in my personal case and on Visesa's case, I think it has been a good success, as we have learned a lot through the process. And also for the other public administration bodies, Basque Energy Agency and Survisa, the local urban regeneration agency, I think it has been the same. And most importantly, for the 100 or like the many public servants that participating in all the workshops, I think has been successful in terms of capacity building. We have learned a lot through the process. And I will try to summarize just three things that we have learned that I consider the most interesting for today. So the first is how important is this horizontal and vertical collaboration that we were talking through the project. That we have this energy efficiency collaboration that has to be at national, regional, and local levels, and how that needs to be coordinated. At the same time, the other column for urban regeneration bodies at national, regional, and local levels. So we found that this vertical multi-level coordination, it works very well. We established new good relationships between the technicians and the public administration workers that we work at the different levels. As let's mention, we have a problem of how to communicate from the technical public servants to the higher management or the political level, the issues of this integration of energy efficiency and urban regeneration. Like we couldn't engage them so much for some of the workshops, and so that's further work that we need to be done on how to communicate to this higher management and how to approach them. So that is an issue that will continue. But between the technical person and very motivated public servants and the national, regional, and local level, it has been very good relations. At horizontal integration level, between departments, like you say, energy efficiency and urban regeneration departments in the city council, or at the regional level, like the administration, different departments, we found it also quite difficult because many times it depends on the political bodies that could have one or other department and complex relationships. But we'll continue working on that one, and Tecnalia will, I think they are working in some projects to help us improve that coordination as well. So the second thing that we learned, I have to say, is the importance of awareness and participation and detailed diagnosis. I titled, we know that public administration, we don't have so much money, and we want citizens to refurbish their homes, and so even refurbish, and that they will be very energy efficient, but they need to believe on that as well, and we cannot force them, and we don't have the money to 100% funds. And the ones who most needed a building refurbishment and energy efficiency terms are the people who have less money normally. So it's a big issue, and only by having the citizens interested and engaged can a project succeed. Like, this can be a long process, how to approach a community and convince them to engage in a project for building refurbishment and even integrating energy efficiencies. It's a big issue for them, and it can take a long time how to approach. It's not a generic way to face this communication about energy efficiency when you go to a new district or to a block of building owners and you talk them about energy efficiency. Is probably the last of their priorities on the list for the living conditions and So the energy efficiency is, at least in the cases in Spain, is not one of their priorities. So how to approach them and when to approach them is a key issue, and how to adapt to the community, to the reality of those communities. In many cases, like you approach the district, and how to approach it is you cannot go individual home by individual apartment. Like you need some community figure, and nowadays, like, we are more connected than ever with the mobile phones, but probably more disconnected with each other than ever. And when we approach a community or a district, we need common decisions to like our Croatian friends were saying as well. You need now majority, single majority at least. That before you needed 100% votes for a refurbishment, but you need a sense of community and people agreeing on things. So how to produce that, or how to deal with that? We found in this project that we have to work with social workers more. I'm an energy engineer myself, and most of my colleagues are architects. But we need to engage much more with social workers. They can play a key role on how to approach communities and districts. And we could use the opportunity, as we did in one of the workshops, of train those social workers on how to communicate energy efficiency issues. So we know for social workers that's normally not in the list, but it could be like a thing that they could start introducing as well. So as a last thing about the diagnosis, it's related to the things I commented, but this, when we do a diagnosis of a district or a city, how to approach urban regeneration and integrate energy efficiency, we cannot focus on the technical aspects. So this socio-economic environment is a key issue, and of course the social workers will help on that. My colleague Olatz was mentioning Irala, that is a district close to Bilbao city center, was built like 100 years ago for some industry, but was located there. And I will put as an example that one of the partners, Visesa, the Bilbao Urban Regeneration Agency, is working intensively, and I think it's a good example that we included in Foster Rec project, and we work with them. And it's a good example how to approach a community, I think, because the Irala neighbors, they care about accessibility. That's their main issue. It's a very nice area, has a special identity, green areas, but you see there are a lot of stairs and slopes, stairs, and inside apartments there are no lifts. So they care about accessibility mostly. And energy efficiency, it can be sold as, it's better even not to mention when we approach them for building refurbishment, but it has to be like an added value that it can be offered to them. So the process to include this energy efficiency in a town or a district like this is slow, and it has to have a good start. Like in this case, they had it in the Visesa, like the Bilbao City Council was in contact with them for long, and at the end it was a neighborhood initiative. Like they officially approached Visesa because they wanted the regeneration. That's the best way to do it. It's very difficult to go from Bilbao City Council to the neighborhood, say, okay, you have to refurbish and integrate energy efficiency. That doesn't work. So it's a previous work of information, and at the end, if the citizens are interested, that's when the process can work best. And Visesa's role will be to mediate and link administration with the residents. So understanding that the process could be complicated to manage, we need resources and could be long. But there are resources better, very good employed in this management of the refurbishment. So sometimes better than direct funding for a small part, just helping on the management, it could be a good option. And Visesa will have to coordinate with the refurbishment solutions and try to preserve in neighborhood identity, and could standardize and group different projects to achieve some economy of scale. And at the same time, here it could take the opportunity to incorporate energy efficiency measures that these are not the things requested by the citizens, but here it could be the opportunity to include them at this time. And considering, of course, community and individual owner situation that probably is not. So it had a good media impact, how we interact with this, and say until now Irala was abandoned, and now it's a good feeling from the citizens, like Visesa will refurbish like 57 buildings in that area, so it's after talking with the citizens, so it's a good feeling that the communication has worked. So it's good within this Foster Rec that we invited other municipalities as well to learn from this process from Visesa and from Foster Rec. So, and the last very interesting topic that we worked on in one of the workshops and through the project as well is what I was commented before. We have very limited funding, and we need in public administration, and we need it to be the most effective possible. Hopefully reach the people who most need it as well. So we found that probably current funding schemes as they are do not reach the targets adequately, like both in terms of what we are funding and who is getting the funding. There we have different funding schemes that they have different priorities. Some are environmental, more energy related. Some other could be industrial to develop certain products that could be produced by the Basque industry, or to move the economical. Some of the funding for refurbishment, they have social criteria as well. So you try to fund the people who most need it. But they are quite different. And we thought within this project we'd discuss intensively how these funding schemes should integrate socioeconomic criteria to reach those situations where they are most needed. And so we talk about issues of fuel poverty and how to reach those. And so that was a very interesting topic. And I think this is my last slide. I put an example of how two different schemes that are existing in the Basque Country. The one on the left is from the Housing Department. That is for building refurbishment, and we hope that that will boost energy efficiency in buildings. But when and for those who most need it as well, people that will save energy in the bills after taking some funds for refurbishment their buildings. But we found that most of the funding at the end could go to building structure, accessibility. So the percentage that goes to the building envelope that is related to energy efficiency is still quite low. And the people who get it is also the bars below, like the people who most need it probably with low income is not accessing to the funds either. So we have a problem there. I think that we have to approach it differently probably. And the one in the right is some other funds from the Energy Agency that are specifically for some components that could be integrated in the building refurbishment. And those are like, let's say, first come, first served, like put an application if you are changing some of that, and it doesn't integrate any socioeconomic criteria. So you could imagine a building block, some people will go, okay, I changed the windows, get this quick funding for changing the windows, and then you go for an integrated refurbishment of the full building, and some neighbors probably will be not so happy to do the other because they access. So this different approaches to funding, we were discussing it intensively, and that was a direct result of Foster Rec. So it got us talking about how to better coordinate this type of funding, and we hope we can continue working in this and continue this discussion by Foster Rec, and that has been a good help from the project. And that is all from our part. Thank you all.